you ask who the greatest R6 Pro player of all time is, the answer that comes to most Siege esports fans' heads is Pengu. He's won 2 6 invitationals, 1 major, and 4 Pro League finals. You heard that right. 7 S-tier world titles, 2 of which are the biggest Siege tournament of all time, the $3 million 6 invitational. Today, he's here to break down his most iconic plays, which also happen to be some of Siege's most viewed esports clips of all time. Welcome, Pengu. It's an absolute honor to have you.
Happy to be here, though. Like, we did a podcast together. Now we're doing some content as well, and we can hopefully get some trips down memory lane together.
Almost getting the kill there.
So it's pretty straightforward. We're at that position with that one player of Fabian, and he has the Valkyrie, so Bob is saying, yo, one guy's coming in Pengu, second guy's coming, third guy coming as well. One guy's trying to drop the hatch. You gotta make a push for it right now. So walk up, and then drop right below, and it's straight in the face.
So break down this defensive strat to me. Was basement on Oregon back then, at least on old Oregon, was it also the best site on the map? Because I'm too young for this. I do remember, like, you used to thermite this wall through to get this hatch or something.
Sir.
Like, that's the only thing I remember, like, being like the gold player that I was back then. But was this like the strongest site, would you say, at that time on this map at least?
I think from memory, it was a bit of like a 60-40, like 60 basement and 40 kid storms upstairs. And depending on the play style, the teams, etc., you could do different things. Often on basement, you do what you do nowadays, right? You turtle, there's no roamers, you're all on the bomb site itself. But this strat came out of Brazil. I think Team Liquid, they kind of created that.
Yeah.
And essentially what that is you extend into meeting. I'll say Liquid, but yeah. Then you extend into meeting, and you basically play a hard meeting hold, because what attackers will do, you go lobby, you break the lobby hatch, you go meeting, you break the meeting hatch, where Chaos and Mirror is laying right now, or where, sorry, Goga is staying on the corner rather. Instead of just holding the bomb site, you try and protect an area above instead. And Fabian, I believe, was roaming inside a meeting as well when he died probably, and that's when the round kind of goes south. When you play 4v5, you have to make a hero play. The play that I make is the hero play. No, it's like, if Fabian dies, because you see he makes an aggressive swing here most likely, if he dies, he can watch the cameras. I mean, that's a really bad swing, right? Like, what is that? he SMG 11 swings meeting left door at 2 minutes 15 seconds. Like, he's throwing the round.
For those who don't remember, the F2 at this point in time was like...
It was insane.
Insane. No recoil, like...
30 bullets plus 1, so 31, right? Bullets, and Astro, who's on Team Font, is like the best Twitch player in the world at this time as well. So this guy doesn't miss. So no, Fabian trolls it, and that's when it's like... Either the meeting players, Goga and KS, they have to aggress into the enemy, or I have to hold the bomb site, because Junis is playing big tower. So when they attack the lobby portion as they are right now, if I die, they get pretty much full bomb site control. As I'm saying this, we see KS has dropped down the meeting hatch and is now inside of the bomb site itself as well. Yeah. But when you lose a player this early, it's just not going to be good. And I'm smoking. If I die with the toxic babes, it completely falls apart.
Do you anticipate Team Font doing this kind of like play at the end where they just all flood you on the stairs? Like, were they known for like this kind of pacing, or that was just kind of crazy?
If you play the clip for like 5 seconds here, as I run down the staircase, I'll kind of narrate it and I'll tell you to pause. So right here I miss. If you pause it right here, if they go on the hatch facing, obviously away from me, they can just prone and see my feet right now. And I die. So I'm expecting at least one player to go on that portion of the hatch, prone, and that's why I'm playing aggressive. I know that I'm stuck. I cannot really risk to go back towards the bomb site. I will definitely die. I have to play the staircase, and the only reason why I didn't push up again is Fabian saying with the Valcam, hey, nobody's peeking hatch. They're just gonna peek the staircase. You can fight these guys. And instead of using my smoke, I take this from G11, because if I smoke the staircase, they're gonna peek the hatch because the staircase is off limits.
It's kind of like a bank blue stairs position, huh? Like back
it is. I want them to take the fight, and I don't want to give them the 10-second delay of going, hey, we should go hatch, because you see cameraman right there. He drops the hatch when he realizes, guys, there's an angle here, but his other team is a little bit too quick to the punch, and they pay the consequence.
Wow. What was it? Okay, what event was this? Sorry, I just...
Year 2, Season 1, Katowice Pro League Finals. So it's the first finals with the Penta iteration roster that we know from that era.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, back then, like, this was like the equivalent... I would say, like, this is the equivalent... There was like a 6 major in the Pro League Finals, right? So this is kind of like the equivalent of major now.
Yeah, but then gets
so I wallbang injured this first player. That's Spark. That's an OG name, by the way. Old Eagle recoil.
Pengu has repelled on inside. He's down corner
3 players from NCO. I think this is the clip, yeah. So this is about positioning, right? You try and get 1 versus 1s right now. They're isolated. One guy yellow, I know that. One guy's from the meeting connector side. So if I can just isolate and win that single on 1 versus 1, I have a winning chance. How?
There's the C4 toss. He tossed too far.
They think we're playing default. We're not. They got post Valkyrie.
And there it is. Pengu
when he
taking out one.
C4s,
Can
I
he take
advance
out the
forward,
other?
get
He
that
knows
kill.
Poseidon was inside a cubby.
Now I have to
Well,
plant
he's
a
close to
meeting,
there. He's
and I
moved
have
on
no
to the
choice
other
but to
bomb
stick it,
site.
right? 3
Going for
seconds
the
left.
plant.
I know the last guy is
Poseidon now
CEO
is gonna try to
yellow,
rush on
so I'm
over.
praying that
He's
he's
going
too
for
far away, and he
the
is.
kill. Doesn't work out,
At
and
this
Pengu
point,
now
I have
knows
no
exactly where
bullets
he's
left on
at.
my primary.
He's gonna get the
I
first
only
kill.
have
He's
the
going for the
deagle. I'm
deagle.
not a
Can he
pistol
get it?
player,
He does
so I
get
just
the
walk in there, I
deagle!
drop shot, hit
Pengu
fire,
dropping
to
the
0-0.
clutch right
No
there.
bullets left on my
Poseidon will
primary.
fall
Couldn't even
to the
reload.
50 cal.
And I literally said to myself, I am never winning this. I'm just gonna drop shot and pray that it works out.
Madness in
Clip
this
number
house,
2. Blackbeard, I think this is what made people think like you're like a Blackbeard god or something. I also remember you saying somewhere that like you started playing Blackbeard on this team because you had like bad aim?
Siege was the first FPS game that I ever played.
Yeah.
So I came from League of Legends, and I played Blackbeard Rook exclusively on attack defense to like crouch myself into a playable position, and then off like scrims and out of Pro League, I played never Blackbeard, never Rook. I played everything else to get better.
My first impression off this clip, like at least when I watch it back, was actually just like straight up composure difference. Like you can see, like even in this 1v2 scenario where you're against 2 info operators that could easily just like if they calm down and try to figure out where you were planting, they probably could have easily won this against you. And then also at the end here, right? So first of all, we have the Pulse not getting info on you, but then after that, this Valk, I think on this very first swing, probably could have taken a way more aggressive pre-fire against you. And then he just he's out. Was this a time where your team was known as kind of like the best in the world, or were you guys still building up to it at this point?
So this is season 2. So this is right after the Moringa clip on the Oregon Staircase. So this is, I guess, we're becoming the best in the world. We're definitely the best in Europe, or we should be fighting for that title. I think Poseidon this spot is a classic example of when you have like let's say this is a 3 versus 1. When the first 2 players die and you're left last alone, you get the shakes because you're being put in a super uncomfortable position, and I think the nerves got to him. This is back when you're like full-time student, you work full-time on the side. We're not really pro players the same way as you are today, so you definitely had the shakes in these 1v1s.
Yeah. I mean, just like, I guess the aura from the smoke clip just like emanated into this game. But yeah, Consulate, it seems like a yellow stairs, CEO, repelling, Consulate take. This is pre-rework once again. Just a classic map. Oh my god.
One of my favorites, actually. It's I think it was a very unique map because it was a lot about the repelling, CEO, meeting balcony.
Yeah.
You played very few positions in the map, and you had to be really good at playing those few positions to make it work.
Oh my god, I actually remember a comp on this map because it didn't get reworked before. So basically, your strat this round is what like take yellow stairs, open up the wall, repel and Blackbeard, and plant behind the table. That's like the overall strategy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 ways to do it. Either you take a buck and you go downstairs and do some vert to like help eliminate player positions, or you play sledge and you just. I actually don't know why you play Sledge here, but I guess we're not that smart back then. But essentially, you take yellow staircase. That requires a bit of like a mini execute if the enemy's playing there with like Jaeger ADSs.
Oh, wait,
I believe the premise you give it up this time, though.
At the time, was the Jaeger yellow stairs hold like meta, right? Like at this time? Yeah. Okay, so you guys already have like a burn, like a bomb flashes, bomb nade, like execute already done there.
It's like you spam like 6 grenades or Hibana pellets. They used to also trigger ADSs. I'm not sure if they did it this exact time. And then you take yellow stairs. But they didn't play yellow stairs. They played this Pulse Valkyrie Intel game instead. So we take yellow for relatively free. We walk up. We throw my breach to wall.
Did y'all do prep back then, or just like fuck these teams?
You know, we were the first team, one of the first teams in the world to have a coach back in year 1 with Shaz.
Yeah.
So Robin and Shaz came from Team Phoenix together and joined Penta back in the day. This is obviously like 6 or 8 months after they originally joined, so we definitely had a prep plan going into these matches for sure.
Yeah, that's I guess the sledge pick was just to like get the Pulse out of there, man. Like that actually makes sense.
And I mean, back then the C8 box primary assault rifle had a lot of recoil. It was a very hard operator to play effectively.
Yeah, I remember that.
So LED5 was like just easy. So isn't G11 on Sledge, of course. So you reach this wall you see right here. You can't bandit trick it because the Blackbeard CEO repel can see that position. So that's your step 1. You breach the yellow wall. Then you gotta get a couple of kills. You rappel in CEO window. Maybe you go connect the repel to cut off that potential C4 we saw from Pulse earlier. Back then, Nomad didn't exist. And Claymores, I guess they did exist, but Claymore in that meeting balcony was very difficult. So it was very risky to go connect the window because meeting window would just jump out and kill you every single time.
Yeah.
So ideally here, we have like 2 more players alive. One is the planter, one is the Blackbeard covering, and one is connect the repel to stop the post from C4ing. That's the ideal scenario. Then you have a joining piano for a C4 below, and then you should be okay.
Now, in this scenario, when the man count is going down, like, what prompts you to, like, repel in? Like, is this like, oh, everyone's going down, everyone's dying, I just kind of have to, like, take my chances to get an entry in here? Because I see a lot of players these days even making the mistake of, like, if they're on a cut angle and their entire team is taking engagements, it's hard to say, like, if you're on, like, a more passive angle and your team is taking engagements, it's hard to really say, like, should you repel in an entry or not? You know, like, it is your job just to hold that cut, right? If you do die, then you're basically giving the enemy an entire rotation section. What prompts you to get into the building right now?
If you go back 5 or 10 seconds, I would like to believe I swing with Goga. Goga's 1 HP yellow stairs, and when he runs in and fights the bandit, I rappel in. You see it right here. So I rappel in right now. Goga swings, I'm already inside, and I trade him. So this is saying if Goga takes the 50-50 alone and he dies, I will then die when I rappel in. So instead, I will rappel in, he will swing the wall. Either I die or he dies, but regardless of who dies, one of us will get the kill.
Yeah. And were you guys a team that really emphasized like 3-2-1's refrag swinging together? Oh yeah. We had what was called the 2-second rule. You cannot be a 2-second sprint like longer away from your teammate. So Goga is within 2 seconds of me rappelling in the window, right? And that means that you can guarantee a refrag, because if Goga dies and then I start repelling in, I will die as well. So you have to get that coordination down. I love that you said the rule, because I think that's so important to these teams, especially it's so cool to see it back then. Like, we had so many rules on Beast Coast when we won Manchester, like, you know, XV2, force plant, cut, like force XV1 on the planner, like rules like that is just, it'll win you rounds. It really does. And I think a lot of teams need a lot more of that, honestly, these days. The complex shit, just focus on the fundamentals,
But essentially, right now, we're trying to apply as much pressure as possible. Open window, open doors. It feels like we're everywhere, kind of punching Empire into a corner. Where you see right here, they do a great job of swinging out, matching the aggression, and fighting back for map control. And we're everywhere. Fabian's on the roof, one guy's Aqua. I block this wall, I look up, knife him right in the cheeks right there. And it's just like, I knew they were going to make an aggressive play when I block open that wall, because they have to, because we're boxing them in. Kaseke, you know, responds back, runs out of office.
So for those of you who don't know, this is 22 rounds. This is in grand finals, a thing called infinite overtime occurs, right? And basically, you have to get to a 2-score difference to win out the game. And G2 and Empire, the best 2 teams in the world at the time. This was the 6th Invitational. Once again, the biggest Siege tournament in history.
I think a couple of rounds before this one, Fabian literally said, I don't know what to call. We've done every strat that we have made. Every iteration. We've tried every adaptation. Like, literally. Because think about it. You play 1st to 6 or 1st to 7. I don't recall it exactly at this point in time.
It's 7 at this point.
It's 7 at this point. Okay, yeah. So we're literally at like triple the potential round count that you can play. And we're going attack, defense, attack, defense, attack, defense. And Fabian goes, what sides have we played the most, and what strat did we do? Because like you cannot prepare for this. This had never happened ever in Siege history until this moment in an S-tier event. So we had never done this before, and we knew whoever wins Coastline will win this best of 5, because it takes so much energy and effort out of you to get to this distance.
Oh yeah. Empire, right? Like the narrative behind this, at least at time, like they yap around this. I believe at the time was that this was the team to end your dynasty. Was that narrative in the back of your guys' head at all, or was it kind of like a Ford situation where like Fabian was just like, yeah, they played like shit competition, they haven't met us yet?
No, I think it's very much like reminiscent of 2018 EG versus Penta, where it's the first, like the best team in the world, us, against the second best team in the world nowadays, or back then Empire, and if they beat us, they would be in our eyes the best team in the world until we beat them back. Empire, they had this unique playstyle. They played what we call the 4+1 strat on attack and defense. What that means is they had 4 players playing together, everyone but Joystick. And then they give Joystick Vigil Jaeger, and he just runs around on defense, and he does crazy stuff. That's also why he dies first here. He takes the combat. On attack, he would play Jaggle and always be on the opposite side of the map from his teammates and go for a backstab, which wasn't normal back then. It was usually like 5 guys on one side pushing across the map. Empire did it differently. And they would do the exact same attack, the exact same defense, and they still do that until like 2024 last year. They've been keeping that same kind of playstyle. So essentially they know, it's like the Matrix. They have seen a million different variations of the same strat. They know all the right responses to every single scenario. We know what they're gonna do. We still couldn't beat them half the time.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they were
yeah.
just so excellent at that.
And that's so interesting with the 4+1 thing is it's so normal now, right? Like counter
Yeah, it is.
pressure or having like
Yeah.
the free roamer. It's just like default now. But like back then, them like innovating is so cool to hear. Did you actually like buck this out to bait this guy hopping out? Because like you made it sound like you literally bucked it to get him to hop out.
Yeah, so you
my
see,
God.
I step backwards, right? Like, why would I step backwards if I have no intention of surviving? If I go right below the window, he can't really shoot me, and he has to flick on this really wonky animation. He's stuck in the midair, of course. So I block the wall, I back up, and then he jumped. I will say he jumped out a little bit quicker than I thought he was gonna do, but I knew he was gonna go for it eventually, and I go for the knife because he was so much closer than I thought he was going to end up being.
That's a
It's one
crazy
of those
read. I'm
that,
not gonna lie.
Time slows down. You know, it's one of those like you see the play happen in your mind, and you
Yeah.
know exactly what you gotta do to get it done.
Okay, y'all were locked then. It was flow state. Right here, what prompts like Goga? Like, was this just like a split decision moment where like Goga went for the bar plant instead of like the chassis plant? Like, and did this kind of like panic you guys? Because it felt like he could have also tried like sticking it over here with cover over the shoulder as well.
He could have, sure. So I think the meta right now is that you played smoke. He's playing lounge right now, we call it, right in the side of pink bar.
Yeah.
But you play lounge or you play to his right inside of jungle where the default camera is. And you can smoke default really easily from those positions.
I see, yeah.
I think the plan here is that we have to kill the guy behind the mini bar first. And we didn't have any nades available, I assume, in this position. So we have to like Sophia stun, Goga pushes in, I push with him. And again, as long as one of us kills the guy behind the pink bar, which I do, you see it on the kill feed right now, it's okay if Goga dies. So Goga goes in aggressively.
So that was just for a kill. Yeah.
Yeah. In a perfect world, we should plant by the B chassis and play it safe. But we
he had
cannot.
case, yeah.
We can't enforce perfect scenarios. So we just gotta go with the flow here and say, okay, diffuse is down deep in the bomb side. Now we have to go aggressively and get these kills before we can go for a safe plant attempt.
Yeah.
Fabian came from verticality. He took top floor control when Empire dropped down to bomb side. Because they realized we're hitting side, they're gonna match us. Fabian goes, now top floor is clear. I can just walk in, no drone, and take the risk. But you see here, we get the missed call, like we mentioned earlier, and I died to this really, like, I shouldn't have died to this before, ever. And thankfully, Fabian wins this. And it's such a 50-50.
Crazy rounds, crazy scenes. And then we got the next round as well. Less of you, I wanted to put that one because you do get a knife kill in that one. The Spectator gets less of you this time, but...
They're coming from office blue window trying to isolate one player. That is me inside of blue bar that is right now. And they're just fishing, well, is what I call this. They're looking for a free kill. They know they need it. They can't execute. They can't plant anywhere right now. And they have such good drone intel. I take down Shock. Yeah, you see, I mean, they just have the numbers now. They have no support. They have no drones left. They're completely clocked out. Look at this fucking punch hole angle. Oh no. He actually walks past him as well. He didn't even realize. Great entry from Cypher. I guess Fabian sold us actually. Didn't realize.
And the final kill, the win. Look at you, man. You're not.
I have relief, bro. It's like an hour and a half match, I think, or something. Like hour 40 minutes.
Look at the crowd. They're like, oh my god.
Like, is it over? Did they do it? Like, hello?
Look at her, bro. She hates it. This is another round where kind of like you kind of just get one kill, but I think an interesting play happens right now. This is the last round before you guys win the 2019 6 Invitational. What was the play called? Because I think it's pretty clear what the play was called here to win out. Close of the match, and then what were your emotions going into like winning this entire final? Like, what did it mean to you and stuff?
So obviously you see the scoreline, 6-1. Bang was a breeze for us. It was very much like Coastline happened, we won it, and the following two maps were both like 7-1s or 7-2s. They were very one-sided, and Team Empire ran out of steam. But this is just confidence challenging, right? Like on Coastline we're playing scared in corners. Right now we're swinging stuff. Aggressive CEO window, aggressive lobby. We feel like we can make a ton of risk and even make mistakes because we're so far ahead. Winning this match in general didn't feel as good as 2018, of course. Like the comeback being down 0-2, that was the dream, but it felt surreal. Be winning SI twice, winning back-to-back, it was something that nobody had ever done, and still to this day nobody's ever done many years later. But I also think Coastline took out so much, almost like enjoyment out of the finals for everyone, because you're so done. You have played an incredibly long match, and you can tell everybody, I think, during the second and third map that there isn't a whole lot. I mean, look at how they're dying. That's not Team Empire's skill. They're just falling apart. I mean, they're not even trying, it looks like. And like, we're celebrating, of course, we're happy, but you compare that to 2018, and it's not even close to the same thing.
Yeah. It felt like winning, like, obviously Coastline, but also like the idea like, oh, you just met expectations as opposed to like surpassing expectations.
The issue that happened in 2019 is that the baseline expectation was to win grand finals. It wasn't to qualify. It wasn't to make grand main stage. If either we win or we're a failure. And after winning SI19, we had some struggles. Right? We got to grand finals and Rally Majors 6 months later or 4 months later, but we lost against Empire in the finals. And it was such a massive defeat for us to lose in a major final. Like, teams and players, they dream of going to a final, regardless of winning or losing. Of course they want to win. But we got into a position where it was only okay to be the winner, and second place was not good enough, and that was hard to deal with.
Like, for those of you who don't understand, like, it's so hard to win back-to-back like the way they did.
It is.
Because it's like you can't just keep doing what you're doing, because everyone's looking at you as the golden standard. You have to innovate beyond that, but you have no one to look to. You have no one to go off of. So it's difficult, man. And the mental part is just, it will always be just like a mystery to go over. I think I watched a clip once of UFC champion Kamaru Usman, and he said, like, when he had the longest win streak ever as champion, he said, like, every time he fought, he felt like he was contending. Like, he gaslit himself to think that he was contending again instead of defending the title, and then that helped him like stay hungry. But I could never figure it out, man.
And we see when they start planting that, we just start sprinting through the bomb site and going for the swing. That's how it was back in 2018. We weren't very good at the game. If that's us now, I would have said, guys, I'm flanking. Don't, like, let them plant. Wait for my timing. Sure, the bomb goes down, but we're flanking at the same time as we're pushing the bomb site, and they can't shoot in both directions at once. So if this was me many years later, I would have said, don't swing this. Just give it to them. Because this FS is free.
Manages to stick it, and BC gets diffuser down as BC takes out Fabian before Pengu eliminates NVK. It's 2-2, and Necrox.
Yeah, I mean, that's the round-winning shot right there. I do think BC could have probably played this differently. Like, you push to the bomb side, you play more aggressively. But again, when you're in these 1v1s, often also sound is really good on LAN. You hear everything perfectly. He probably is like, if I'm just going to sit still, he's not going to expect me to be in this corner and I can just cheese the victory. But I just knew, we had no information, but I just knew he was going to be there.
look at the smugness, man. Like, I
mean, we stole the round. We shouldn't have won that.
Yeah, it's how you're thinking at this one. That's hilarious, bro. But
it's funny. That's why we lose this map, so it doesn't even matter.
How important to you guys as a team was, like, comms during like a roamer play, like a flank? Like, were you guys really, like, aiming to, like, time it together, like the contact that you make? Like, wait, guys, don't die yet. I'm on the flank. Wait till I make contact and then we go. Like, how much did you guys emphasize that as a team? Because it kind of seemed like they were waiting on you a bit to take action, or was it not like that?
I think in this position, so one of the things that Shate was not as good at as I think, like Fabian, for example, is he didn't understand the exact timings of when to do certain things. Shate was great on like roaming and like flanking because of that, because he had like this weird kind of different timings to things, but he's using Toxic Babes way too early. I'm probably saying that I'm doing for a slow flank because there's a minute and 10 seconds left. Like we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
And if we hold our Toxic Babes for longer, we can match it. So I flank when they start planting and they have one gun less available. But because we make the mistiming, I end up arriving on the flank when I'm the last player alive on defense, basically. And that's obviously terrible. So we want to time it. We kind of mess it up. And then it just comes down to good gunplay. And we see when they start planting that, we just start sprinting through the bomb site and going for the swing. That's how it was back in 2018. We weren't very good at the game. If that's us now, I would have said, guys, I'm flanking. Don't, like, let them plant. Wait for my timing. Sure, the bomb goes down, but we're flanking at the same time as we're pushing the bomb site, and they can't shoot in both directions at once. So if this was me many years later, I would have said, don't swing this. Just give it to them.
Oh, yeah.
Because this FS is free.
But this was like a huge kill still. Like, that shot, insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's the round-winning shot right there. I do think BC could have probably played this differently. Like, you push to the bomb side, you play more aggressively. But again, when you're in these 1v1s, often also sound is really good on LAN. You hear everything perfectly. He probably is like, if I'm just going to sit still, he's not going to expect me to be in this corner and I can just cheese the victory. But I just knew, we had no information, but I just knew he was going to be there.
This is the one. This is probably the most, at least for me, the most iconic Pro League clip ever.
Two of the best known players on that team. Their captain, sufficient fragger, Fabian down. It's Pengu, the Ash, just waiting, or rather the Hibana, just waiting. They'll look to push together. The diffuser in a position where they'll have to see when the Hibana goes through. One will cover the doorway. As they start to defuse, Pengu goes for one on the Young. Can he go the second? They're often known as the best team in the world, never having that distinction until today. Penta are your world champions. The second invitational.
I had 3 flashbangs. Like, come on. What am I doing?
You played this actually like so aggressively,
So
and
bad,
they probably didn't even expect it. Honestly, that was probably like the good part about it. It's like you taking that aggressive option.
I just couldn't contain it,
6
man.
rounds to win back then, yeah.
Also, because if you go back like right before Fabio dies, I have like a solid 10 seconds of like anticipation build up, right? Nothing's happening. No, and in my head, I'm like, if we win this fucking round, if we fucking win this, it's almost terrible how long I get to make this decision.
Yeah,
and this one, like, I can't do it anymore. And I just have to go.
It's crazy because, like, you say 10 seconds now, but this is in real time, like, 2 seconds. I'm being so serious when I say, like, these things are in slow motion for, like, the players. I'm being so serious. For everyone who doesn't understand, like, Pengu genuinely remembers it as 10 seconds. He's not saying it because, like, he's exaggerating. In this moment, he thought it was 10 seconds, but it's, like, it's actually...
And you're thinking of all the outcomes and what could happen and where are they, and you're hearing sounds and teammates are giving communication. And we had a drone on the bomb site, but it didn't see, like, the diffuser itself, so it's mostly like an audio, and Goga just going, kitchen. So
this strat, let's break down the final strat. It's kitchen.
It's very simple. It is the simplest strat ever. You take hookah aqua, you attack pink bar, blue bar, so only half the map. You just use glass on the kitchen door from jungle and just plant diffuser with the glass.
Yeah, so you take above like these 2 bars basically.
Yeah.
Because you have above, they can't harass you from above before. You get these guys out of here, get this angle over here, and you get a guy in this window, right? And you just like plant here.
And you use the glass smokes.
Yeah.
That's like the simplest way to describe the strat. But there's so much that has to go right. Obviously, EG right now, they have 4 players on the primary floor. So they don't have a lot of top floor presence. That makes our lives a lot easier. Actually, they had nobody on top floor.
Yeah, this is a very horizontal, I was going to say. I was expecting like at least 1 vert player, but...
There's a strat where you play mirror and penthouse, like you do today as well, but they didn't go for it. They kind of, exactly that. But they gave that up for free.
And they have a VIP hold, right? And then they have like holes all over the side,
So, in hindsight, if we didn't have the glass... Because there's not an attacker repick back then. Like, you lock in your operators, and that was
by the way, that's crazy. Yeah. Back then, they had no attacker repick. Like,
we raw dogged every lineup, bro, without knowing what we're doing.
You have to do it before prep phase chat, or not chat, my YouTube view.
So if we had Sledge or Bog, we could do a lot of verticality, just take top floor for free. But the only thing we had was Ash, essentially. So we have a brute force, yellow, pink and blue bar, and take that as the first step. I cannot die as Hibana, because I'm always the guy, like, I chill in the plant setup, basically, and I'm also often last alive. Junas can't afford to die with the glass. So ideally, this is like Fabian and Shat that have to step up, or maybe even Goga. It's always awkward when you're the people who are not usually entrying becomes the entry. Because Jonas and Shatsi are great at entry playing, but Fabian and Goga were more of like if we need to, we'll do it, but it's not our first choice. Goga gets the first pick onto the Rook. Massive, right? Goga, if he dies now as Thermite, he doesn't have to breach any walls, and he's already gotten a kill. He also has a Claymore, so no throwable utility. Goga is now a loose gun in this round and can go as crazy as he wants to, but again, we need the glass to rotate. He takes top floor, the call gets made, put a flank drone for him, that's me. Jonas comes over, and he dies like immediately. And when he dies, it goes, oh, what's plan B? So Shati, again, you see his timing. If you go back 1 second here. Shati is in the middle of the bomb site with no drone, no flashbang. The smoke has been tossed by Jonas, but it hasn't popped yet. Shati is, again, not on the right timing.
I was going to say, like you described this strat like you smoke it first, and then you go
smoke it. Because if you smoke it, Shati can just run in and plant for free. Jonas tries to save Shati, pays the prize. Shati spams flashbangs in the ground to blind himself and says, I'm just going to plant here, guys. So it's super risky.
Oh my god. I also want to say, like, you are so good at breaking these down in real time. Do you think this has to do with, like, you being a caster? Or, like,
I think I spent more time watching the game than playing the game back when I was a pro player almost. We did a lot of, like, we did all our own, like, our coach Shaz didn't really do strats and theory. That was Fabian and I.
Yeah.
He did a lot of management editorial stuff. So I just think that we always had an eye for what we wanted to do and what is happening in the server. But yeah, coach streams, casting, sure.
Yeah, and EG kind of go for like a really good aggressive play here, killing the kids window player.
Yeah.
I think that was huge. Yeah.
I think they respond really well. They also, by the way, they thought they smoked the planter, but they missed. So in their mind, we weren't planting. If that smoke had hit correctly, they actually win this round for sure. Because the only ace up our sleeve is the fact that we do a surprise plant because Shati makes that stupid play. So it's almost like if we're being like super cheeky, we planned to sacrifice Juna, so they thought we couldn't plant, but then we did plant, right?
Yeah,
that's not what happened, but yeah.
And obviously, we know the rest. Pengu.
Yeah.
Well, Fabian sells his teammate. You know, what a bum.
It's so weird. I knew I was gonna win this. Like I was like, there's no chance I lose. Like ever since I was 5 years old, I knew that I was gonna. I was destined to be a pro player in some game, and I thought that was gonna be League of Legends, but it wasn't. And I feel like this moment right here was like since I was 5 years old, that had been building up to this exact moment. Because I knew I was going to do something great at some point. And I think this is it. Like, this is the highlight of my career. I literally grew up and I was like, games make me happy. I want to be a gamer. I want to be an esports player. And I just wanted to be recognized as, like, the best player in the world for a second of my life. And the idea that people would say my name and chant it. And then I was given... I'm not a religious person, but there's this saying that, like, God will teach you by giving you an opportunity to, like, see if you can handle it. I was given the 1 versus 2 to see if I was worthy of being, quote-unquote, the best player in the world at that point. And by winning it, I became worthy, and if I had lost it, then clearly I wasn't meant to be that good.
I'm so glad you, if you were holding that in, I don't know if you said that before in any interview, but I'm so glad you got to get it out again in modern times, man. Because that's crazy, man. God gave you the situation to prove whether or not you were worthy.
To see if I was worthy. I always wanted to prove myself, and you know, like anybody else, before you become a pro player, you think you're good enough, you believe in yourself, you have to, but you don't really know if you truly are until somebody takes a chance on you, whether it's getting trialed on a team, invited to the team chat to like try and play with them or see if the vibes are good, or in this case, if you're being put in one of the most complicated positions of your career, 2v1 to win the game, no one can really help you, nobody can say when to swing, nobody has a camera, we just have sound from it, it's all you. And the thing is, if I had lost that round, I also know my teammates wouldn't have ever felt bad about it, because it's an impossible situation to be in. You do what you can, and we would have all played that 2v1 differently, all 5 players of us, all 10 if you combine EG. Nobody would have done what I did, and what I did in that specific instance worked for me.
Thank you, Pengu, for the
Fett.
time. That was actually so fun. That was crazy.
Thank you for having me.